Hi, it's Mrs. Roberts, and I'm here with another Sunshine State book, first chapter Friday for you, 96 Miles by J.L. Esplin. The tagline on this book, 96 Miles, is 21 days without power, two brothers on a desperate trek, 72 hours before time runs out. Chapter 1. Dad always said, if things get desperate, it's okay to drink the water in the toilet bowl. I never thought it would come to that. I thought I'd sooner die than let one drop of toilet water touch my lips. Yet here I am, kneeling before a porcelain throne, holding a tin mug for scooping in one hand and my half-gallon canteen in the other. Don't worry, I'm going to boil it first. Behind me, my brother Stuart is making gagging noises. I'm going to throw up, he says, which is something Stu says all the time. But does he actually ever throw up? No. He doesn't do most of the things he says he's going to do lately, like run away or kill himself or kill me. Come on, John, he says, the whine in his voice setting my teeth on edge. Do we really need this? I stop mid-scoop and stare up at him, holding back the pink padded toilet seat with my elbow. No, we don't need it, Stu, I thought. Oh, look, water from a toilet. That sounds refreshing. Let's drink it. His sullen, dark eyes narrow at me, and I thrust the canteen into his hands. He kneels down to help me, but adds in a mumble, we have 2 canteens of water already. And that's a perfect example of how my brother thinks. 2 canteens of water, and we have a 3-day walk down an empty stretch of desert highway before we reach Brighton Ranch, our last chance for help. I'm no math genius, but before this ugly pink toilet came along, I figure we were short in the water department. It isn't Stu's math skills I'm questioning, though. If we found a pantry full of Aquafina in this abandoned shack of a home, Stu would have been the first one to start filling his pack. He knows how desperately we need water. What I'm questioning is his willingness to do anything hard, or in this case, anything revolting, in order to save himself. Yet we are raised by the same dad who preached self-reliance on pretty much a daily basis. I wouldn't have predicted this about Stuart. He's younger than me by 2 years, but he's always had a lot more determination when it comes to stuff like this. My dad calls it a strong mental fortitude. I couldn't say what my strengths are. I guess I'm good at yard maintenance, and according to my school counselor, using sarcasm to avoid conflict. And now I think about it, I'm not exactly sure she meant that as a compliment. But my point is, in the face of a real natural disaster, or a terrorist attack, or a zombie apocalypse, or whatever the heck happened 21 days ago that caused all the power to go out, I would have predicted that Stuart would be the one talking me into doing hard things, not the other way around. Anyway, it's not like I want to drink toilet water, boiled or not, but what choice do I have? What's the alternative? It's not like we're at a restaurant and the waiter is asking, would you like the bottled water or the toilet water from the creepy abandoned bathroom? My mug scrapes the bottom of the porcelain bowl as I scoop the last of the water, and before I can stop myself, I give the bare toilet a quick inspection. It looks clean for the most part, other than the faint rust-colored ring where the water level once was. The water itself doesn't look bad either. Still, it's the stuff we can't see that we have to worry about. Stu is doing a bad job of holding the canteen over the bowl. That's no surprise. He's got this disgusted look on his face, and he's checking out the dirty corners of the small bathroom. I already told him not to look too closely. The place kind of creeps me out, with its cracked vinyl floor and sun-bleached lace curtains, like something frozen in time, like something out of an old horror movie. Not to mention, it's hotter than Hades, and the air is still as death in here. Move closer, I say impatiently, motioning for Stu to bring the canteen over the bowl. He does it with shaky hand, so I end up spilling toilet water on his fingers. His fault. Oh, gross, he says, jerking the canteen back. He switches hands and then wipes his wet one down the side of my pant leg before I can stop him. Real mature, I say. Real mature, he mimics. We've been together too long. Before I realize what he means to do next, Stu is on his feet, upending the canteen, dumping all that water I just collected back into the toilet. Stop, I yell, jumping up and making a grab for the now empty canteen. What are you doing? We don't need this, he insists, hiding the canteen behind his back like he's 10 years old or something. He's 11, which may not seem like that much older than 10, but I swear, under normal circumstances, he's the oldest 11-year-old I know. We could end up finding one of those hot springs along the way, he says. You never know. Or we could find a chocolate factory with a chocolate river inside, I say. Stu looks like he wants to hit me. What, I'm not allowed to come up with any what-if scenarios? He does this heavy sigh thing that he's been doing a lot lately. I think we should stop at the reservoir for water, he says. It's only a short detour. The short detour he's talking about is 16 miles out of the way. I don't know if he's thinking about this in terms of walking, but I've already made up my mind that we aren't stopping at the reservoir. With the supplies we have, and I'm including the toilet water, we'd be lucky to last 3 days out there in the desert. So we've got 3 days to get to Brighton Ranch. We can't afford to add 16 more miles to our already insanely long walk. We'll decide about the detour when we get to the turnoff. All right, I say? He nods reluctantly, but I can tell he sees right through me. For now, we have to take as much water with us as we can. I hold out my hand for him to give me the canteen. He sighs again without handing it over. I should be the one sighing, not him. Do you want us to survive or not? I say, throwing my hands up in frustration. But one look at Stu's face and I regret I asked. What is the point of surviving? He shouts at the low ceiling. His question freaks me out. It really freaks me out because I'm not sure there is a point to all of this anymore. But I'm not going to tell him that. Instead, I say, I told you I would get you across this desert, all right? All you have to do is trust me. You mean all I have to do is lie to myself? All I have to do is pretend like I'm not already a goner? My chest tightens with familiar dread. Don't say stuff like that. That was part of our deal, remember? I'm going to get you across this desert and you're not going to say stuff like that. He stares right at me and he's thinking about pushing me a little further, and I can tell by the tick of his jaw. But then he says, fine, I trust you. I don't believe him. He doesn't trust me at all. I mean, if he did, he wouldn't be acting like this, right? He wouldn't be calling himself a goner. But I decide to drop it, pretend I believe him. It's like that annoying dry spot at the back of my throat that won't go away. If I pretend it isn't there, then it doesn't bother me so much. But if I let myself think about it even for a second, then I become obsessed with working my tongue against the roof of my mouth, trying to gather up enough saliva to quench it. But if you can't cure a thirst this powerful with spit, and all I end up with is a tongue that aches and a sore mouth and spit that never seems to hit the dry spot anyway. So yeah, sometimes you're better off ignoring things you can't do anything about anyway. Listen, I finally say, I'm going to give you my clean water. I go to the pack I left leaning against the chipped bathtub and unhook my one full canteen. I walk it over to him, but he won't take it. He just stares at me with hard eyes and a clenched jaw. I squat down next to his pack and find his empty canteen opposite the full one. Switch it out for my full one. Your pack's evened out now. Without looking at him, I add, I don't mind the toilet water. Positioning myself in front of the bowl again, I unscrew the plastic cap on Stu's canteen, grab my mug, and start filling. Stop it, John, Stu says in a quiet voice. Stop what? I say, focusing on the narrow opening of the canteen, ignoring the obvious drop in Stuart's mood. Anger I can deal with, but not this. Stop acting like I'm some helpless baby and it's your job to save me. I open my mouth ready to disagree with him, but nothing comes out. I've never thought of Stuart as helpless before, but lately that's exactly how he's been acting. So I guess I've been acting like it's my job to save him. Isn't it though? Before I can come up with a response that will snap him out of his mood, I hear a noise outside. Stu hears it too. I can tell by the look on his face, the way his whole body tenses up. If this were just your average, everyday, massive power outage that we were dealing with, the sound of footsteps on the gravel outside wouldn't exactly send up alarm bells. But 2 days ago, everything was taken from us. I mean everything that Stu and I needed to survive this blackout, including a decade's worth of dry and canned goods that my dad had been hoarding away, and all 6 of his 55-gallon water tanks. If my dad had been around, he would have taken a bullet for those water tanks. Maybe Stu is remembering our water tanks because he's suddenly eager to protect what we found first, the toilet water. He crouches down next to me and picks up the empty canteen he tossed aside moments ago and motions for me to hurry and finish with the one I'm working on, like it's all of a sudden Evian water. I got everything I could out of the bowl, so I set down my mug and quickly closed the canteen, handing it off to Stu. Then I shut the toilet seat and quickly lift the lid off the back tank. As I'm doing that, I check out the window, craning my neck both ways, but the early morning sun is glaring off the dirty glass and I can't see who's out there. I hear them, though. It's a shack of a home, an abandoned double-wide trailer, and a patch of trees about a mile from our property line. The walls are like paper mache, the whole house like a giant piñata waiting to be crushed. I can hear muffled voices speaking to each other now, and footsteps treading through the gravel around to the side where the entry is. I hear the rusty spring of the screen door opening, and then the high-pitched squeak of metal hinges. All right, I'm going to stop there. Cliffhanger. Check out 96 Miles from the Media Center today.